All right, bodybuilding fans around the world, it is breaking news with Primetime Muscle. Tim Wilkins with the one and only Tarek Gilgindi right over there next to me. Tarek's phone is ringing off the hook. You're very busy tonight.
It's Chris Cormier. He's late. So what would you expect?
This is new how? This is not breaking news.
This is not breaking news. Chris Cormier late.
Well, he was in the Arnold in the auditorium watching the events tonight, watching the Fitness International. That's the real deal, blowing my phone up, as a matter of fact. Watching Fitness International, the Wellness Classic, and the Men's Open Prejudge. Tarek, let's walk him through, starting with fitness. What do you think?
So obviously, it was a battle between Ariel Kadar and Jacqueline Baker. I have to say that Jacqueline Baker is so expressive. She's so beautiful on stage, and she matches her movements with the sound. And it's romantic, it's novelty, it's poetry. But if she wants to beat some of the girls that are winning these shows, the Olympia or the Arnold, she's gonna have to bring a little bit more movement. She can be this novelty on stage, but at some point in her routine, she needs to have a little bit more movement. And Ariel Kadar brings that movement, brings that strength, even though she kind of missed two small transitions there, but she just kept on going. I thought this was pretty close. It wasn't a dominant performance. I thought Ariel Kadar had a better performance last year. Her presentation last year was historical, but I think Ariel Kadar did enough to maintain the title.
I didn't know about the energy of it versus Jacqueline Baker. Jacqueline brought a lot more life, but Ariel was straight power. Coming in out of those one-armed handstands slowly. Each move was precise. A lot of power and a lot of great energy like she always brings, and her physique was definitely on point.
Absolutely, absolutely. Great show. I mean, these competitors are great. Now they got to face Missy Truscott, possibly Whitney Jones, so it will be a challenge.
The two Olympia brick walls, Oksana may be back as well, so I'm sure they'll be back soon. There aren't a lot of venues. Once you qualified, of course, Ariel goes back to the drawing board and said, all right, what do I bring special to this year's Olympia in Orlando, first week in November? So speaking of people that qualified also tonight, wellness. So we move on now to wellness. I had Sunny Andrews a little higher. She ended up finishing 8th, but then that top 3 spots got interesting. So you had Rayanne Fogel in 3rd, and then 2nd was a surprise for you?
I think it was a surprise for a lot of people that Angela Borges was 2nd place. She was the favorite coming in, the highest competitor. She had placed ahead of Cassandra Gillis at the Olympia, and she looked to be in great shape. Now, the key question is the same thing that Sunny Andrews suffers from, I think Angela might be suffering from, which is the connection between when the glutes are so developed and the legs might not match somehow, because they both have very, very developed glutes, and then the legs might not be that developed. Now, ironically enough, Cassandra Gillis needs to develop the legs as well. So I also think that Cassandra, if she wants to battle it out against Isa Pereira and Franciele Matos, she's going to have to get bigger. But it was a very, very close decision. Angela Borges looked incredible, amazing. A lot of people had her winning, but at prejudging, you could see that Cassandra Gillis also looked incredible. And from the back and from the side, Cassandra Gillis is very good. So it was a battle for the ages right there. We have to see them rematch at the Olympia.
We do. Now, Classic was another big one today. We said after prejudge there were 3 favorites at the top, and they pretty much finished up with the 3 of us talked about earlier, as well as Xavier from Desktop Bodybuilding. We talked about Alex Carbonero looking amazing. They as they talked about it in the broadcast, Todd Harris, Fawad, Dennis, and Janet, they mentioned he did match his 2020 Arnold Classic physique quality, but that the sport has evolved to a point where that kept him in third, unfortunately. And then you got that epic battle going on between Urs Kalaczynski and Ramon Dino, the icon now who's just that contender.
Yeah, Tim, the classic physique is quite interesting. Uh, we were talking about Alex Cambronero at prejudging, and Chris Cormier, and I think Xavier's had him in fourth. I had him in third, and I'm gonna brag about it uh, because I thought his back double biceps had more detail. I thought he was more balanced than Mike Sommerfeld, and I thought he could have been on a three-man call out with Urs Kalaczynski and Ramon. Could he have beaten those guys? I don't think so. But if I do my Olympia news, Tim, I would say, hey, one of the guys to watch is Mike Cambronero. Do not disregard his talent. You know what I mean?
Oh, there he is. The real deal, Chris Cormier, making it into his hotel room. So he must be in the host hotel. What up, Chris?
What's going on? I am not in the host hotel, but I made it over here with the cab ride, old school style.
Nice.
How you
So
guys-
we
how you
we
guys doing?
covered Ariel's win in fitness in the Fitness International. We talked about Cassandra Gillis edging out Angela Borges. We're talking the predictions that you and Xavier made earlier that Alex would be potentially fourth and moving Michael Sommerfeld into third. But now we had that epic battle
Yeah.
between Ramon and Urs. What did you think of the outcome there?
Well, Urs, his posing. I mean, he had great music. I thought he had that old school worm thing going. He could have extended those arms a little bit longer and made it better, but he won the posing award. It was great. It was a great atmosphere, and I'm really happy for him. All he needs is time. Tick tock, and he's gonna be the number one guy in the world. Urs.
Those baby muscle bellies need some time to develop, huh?
Yeah, I just need time.
No,
What do you think, Judge?
that's a bold statement. So you think, Chris, that if Urs Kalaczynski reaches his full potential and Ramon is at full potential, that Urs will be better than Ramon? Come on,
I mean,
let's
he
get the
has.
Brazilians against you.
No,
You know
no,
what?
don't be talking that mess to me. It's not about this. It all depends on what he does moving forward. But he has the potential to be number one in the world. Yes, he does. His back is not nearly as close as Dino's. Dino's had the mature. He gained more thickness on his back than he had at the Olympia. Dino did.
And conditioning, you were right earlier, Tarek, when you said Urs, it's that mature muscle that needs to develop a little more tight up top and a little thicker in the back. He's got you obsess about clavicles, Tarek, and he's got a really wide frame up top that he can fill in, and he's going to be trouble for Ramon.
You are right, Tim. So if you look at Chris Bumstead and Urs Kalaczynski, they have larger clavicle bones than Ramon. But Ramon has the tendency to be a little bit more bubbly, rounder muscle bellies. You know, he's got those crazy arms. You know, his side poses are impressive. Now, one thing that we have to say about Ramon is on that back double biceps, despite the width of Urs Kalaczynski, Ramon had a lot more detail. And I think that was the show right there. That's where Ramon won and Urs lost. It was that back double biceps where Ramon displayed a level of separation that Urs didn't have.
Well, when Ramon extends his arms or does things with his arms, his thickness there. It's like a Rottweiler thickness. Urs is still like a Doberman Pinscher when it comes to those type of shots, and I think that plays a big part in deciphering who you're gonna pick first or second with those guys at this point. I mean, Urs is very young. He has a lot going for him. Next 2-3 years, he's gonna be really something to deal with.
All right, Chris. Now I know you were in those Hall of Famer legend seats, wherever they put you near the front. How cool! This was one of the coolest moments for me when the guys are they're getting their trophies. They're all lined up. They're going to do that picture that lasts a lifetime, and they all kind of chopped it up and said, "Hey, let's do Arnold's classic back double by." How awesome was that to see?
Oh yeah, it was great, man. It was the great atmosphere. Everyone was really hyped up, man. It was amazing, man. I loved every minute of it.
And
I was
Tim,
hyped up to come back over here.
so sorry. I want to just interact here with one of the fans, one of the Brazilian fans. The Brazilian fan here is asking, did Ramon pose better on the finals? Do you agree and disagree? And Igor,
Yeah,
yes,
in the
yes,
fi-
yes, yes.
in the finals, yes. In the finals, yes. I
Igor,
think
you're
I think when they get more carbs in them, they feel their muscles better. They feel more confident, and I think that has a lot to do with what I saw tonight. Him and also Mike, he did the same thing. Summerfield, he posed better tonight. He felt his body more. Maybe it was just a little too late because I felt it really shaking and prejudging. But I think that's the thing is that had they had more carbs in their body, and I think they felt a lot better tonight.
And Tim, just to add on, Ramon was heavily criticized after the Olympia for his posing against Chris Bumstead. Chris Bumstead is a master of posing, and Ramon was outposed on stage at the Olympia. And Ramon has been working very hard and he improved his posing, but I felt like at prejudging, he was still a little bit nervous. You know, he was trying to be right. He was a little bit nervous. I think at the finals, once he said, okay, I'm right there in the center with Urs, the butterflies are gone, he posed a lot better. Do I think he still needs to improve to challenge Chris Bumstead? Absolutely, but he is on the right path.
All right. Well, and Chris, maybe he'll take you up and head over to Camp Cormier down near San Diego and spend a couple of days with you and Tarek and
I
dial
would
in
love to
some of
help the
those
kid.
special hands and feet that you talk about.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, he could definitely use that. I mean, he's still a baby in the sport himself, and they're still learning their way, learning, what is the right positioning. And sometimes, even when you know the right positioning, you can put your feet in the way you put your physique. Sometimes you just don't go that way when the heat is on. So he's doing
All
better,
right,
man. He's
primetime
finding his
team.
way.
This is it. So many fans of Fitness International Wellness tomorrow, bikini and men's physique. But when it comes down to it, the vast majority of fans are hoping for the open. We had prejudged tonight. We had some favorites that we thought. Chris, you were in the hall. What'd you think?
Man, where do I start? I mean, let's start with Big Ramy. I mean, vast improvement from the last time he would stepped on stage. I know there were rumblings from his camp that he's going to be improved, but this is not the overall, uh, you know, the overall package and what they're hoping uh, for more in the future, as opposed to getting ready for the next Olympia. But man, I mean, for his, I mean, can I say, and dare I do say, the legs were too big almost. You know,
Oh, yeah.
it just overshadowed the whole stage there. Just you just looking at that so much, just so much legs. But double bicep, front lat spread, rear double bicep, all these are great improvements. He looked. Yeah, just overall, just great shape. Patrick Moore, you're the tale of two physiques up there. The upper body just so much over upon the lower body. Just I know he's coming back from from injury, tearing his Achilles. So, but I appreciate the effort he put in. Justin Rodriguez, great upper body. I thought his legs were a little bit blurry from the front and from the sides and the rear. I think that kind of hampered his placing. Samson, man, Samson came out the gates fast and furious. He had the body, the shape, the cuts, the hamstrings all diced up. Back to a bicep. I had him first place coming out the gate. Later on, I thought it changed because I thought this guy they call Andrew Jack. Andrew Jack was amazing, man. He started out not as strong to me, and I thought he finished uh, through the finish line stronger than any other physique. Squared off classic lines, old school looking ab and thigh shot, back double bicep, everything like that was great sight. Tricep, could even open up that front side chest can be picked up more. He's still a little clamped in with it,
We talked
and
about
just some work
fullness
there.
testing on that as well, Chris. We talked
Yeah,
about even if he gets it right and across the front, he's still got some upper fullness to fill in.
right, correct. And Nick, man, he was as advertised, as he shows you all the time. The hard work was put in. He had everything going for him. The back double bicep was amazing. Front double bicep amazing. His his ab and thigh was really good. I just think he was outstructured in this competition right now to be first and second. I got him going third.
Wow.
Samson, Sean Clarita, what a great! I mean, every time we did it live, every time we talked about, it, we still kept him in the top five. Like he was not going to be out of top five, no matter who was up there. And
Yeah.
he did us just justice on that. Straight back double biceps, triceps, most muscles dead on. Uh, who else did I have? William Bonek, uh, much improved, very hard, hard as nails from the back. A lot of great. I thought his physique was vast improved. I thought he started to fade a little bit towards the end, but started out super strong. Kim was a lot harder than I've seen him in a long time. A lot of mass, and I think that's it for now, brother. You tell me what you think.
Tarek, Judge, what do you got?
So I think Justin Rodriguez was not at his best. He was not conditioned. He was holding water. So I don't think this is the best presentation for Justin. I think he could end up in one of the last placings. Is not his best. And I think when he looks at the pictures, he'll see that. Kamal El-Garni, I didn't think he was as conditioned as we're used to seeing him. And if he's not conditioned and he's battling it out against guys that are huge, he is going to fall. I thought also Patrick Moore, the legs were down and he wasn't conditioned. So I think he's also going to finish a little bit behind some of those guys. Moving on to William Bonek, I thought he was better than the Olympia, but still, William is now facing a generation of competitors who are huge and wide. And William has, like I always say, he's a bit narrow. The clavicle bones are narrow. So I think he's going to be out of the top five. I think this was a better Akeem Williams. I mean, he's got from the side, we saw that leg that we saw in 2020 when he placed fifth at the Olympia. But Tim, I still don't see back development on Akeem Williams. The day this guy comes in with a back, he could win shows like this.
Was it Tampa or Texas last year that he brought his best?
I think
Tampa.
it was Tampa, but still,
Tampa.
We still have not seen Akeem Williams develop that back that is up to par with his front poses. Moving on to Sean Clarita. I think this was the best Sean Clarita ever. He was even better than the Olympia. I think we were talking about him gaining a little bit of weight and possibly losing that waist. I think he gained weight. He was conditioned and he didn't lose any of his weight. He was incredible, Sean Clarita. I think he's going to, be in that top five, finishing fifth. And I think he looked incredible. If he brings that physique to the 212, it's going to be very hard for anybody to come even near him.
He put out a post the other day, Tarek, that he was 186 on stage at the Olympia, and he was 194 and as hard as he wanted it to be the other day before he flew out to Columbus.
Yeah, so, I mean, it worked. I give credit to Matt Jensen. It worked. They added a little bit of size. They didn't compromise the conditioning, and the lines were just as beautiful. Now, Big Ramy, vastly improved. I got to give a lot of credit to Chad Nichols. Vastly improved. Man, he opened that back double biceps. He hit that back double biceps. Are the lats a little bit high? Yes, they are. But we finally got to see the separation on the back double biceps. He I was so happy to see. That's who he is. He knows how to pose, and he did that back double biceps perfectly. From the side, he is a monster. Um, I feel like Chris has a good point. The quad sweep is very overpowering, and now the waist might be getting a little bit too wide. That almost takes a little bit out of balance. You know what I mean? It looks a little bit bottom heavy, even though he has a monster physique. I thought
Well,
from the back he was better, but I think Big Ramy is on his way back. I think he's getting better. Amazingly enough, credit to Chad Nichols.
well,
This
you
guy is
can't
getting
you
better.
can't say back too many more times, Tarek, without a segue. So, guys, both of us, all three of us, said in those back double buy shots at the Olympia, there was a whole section of low mid back tie-in missing. There was no Christmas tree. There was no Christmas to be had. The Grinch came. Was that low back there, Chris?
It was improved. I'd like to see more out of it, but like I said, I think it's a progress. It's in progress of improving and getting better and better. And I think I think he still has a shot to get that title back one day.
Tarek?
I have to agree with Chris. I was shocked and dismayed. I was so impressed and so happy. Bodybuilders, when we see them, Mr. Olympias, when we see them getting hurt, it's very hard for them to come back. I think what happened at the Olympia was an outlier. And I think Big Ramy is on his way back. I commend him for the comeback.
So that's fourth. Now we move into those three top spots, and we kind of all called this.
So, yes, we predicted, Tim, that it would be a run between Samson Dauda, Nick Walker, and Andrew Jacked. I'm going to start with Andrew Jacked. Andrew Jacked, his conditioning is a lot better than the conditioning that he displayed at the Olympia. Vastly better. People talk about having a thin skin. He does have that. His quad separation is incredible. The back double biceps now that has more detail is better. I thought his abs, and he knows he's got great abs. He goes on like this in front of everybody, like, are you ready to take my pictures? But I'm going to ask Chris because Chris was there. I believe that with amazing conditioning, maybe Andrew just lost a little bit of fullness on the chest, on the shoulders. Do you see there, Chris, losing a little bit of fullness on top because the conditioning was so good?
I felt that coming out the gate at the beginning. At the beginning, the shoulders and the chest was a little bit down, but I'd rather see that than the opposite. He's a little bit. It's not like he has like big long chest with a big. I mean, his chest is a little short. Uh, his body is what his body is, but it's very impressive. I mean, those abs was deeper than anyone else's on the stage, bar none. Uh, I was really impressed with that old school squared off quad with the feathered all the way across. Really, he can still improve his posing on a lot of these a few of these poses. He can still improve more, but that Christmas tree was the driest. When they first came out, Samson was overpowering everybody. I just don't know how the judge is gonna pick and choose on that because I felt Samson did fade a little bit toward the end, and that's opened the gate for someone like Andrew Jack to really shine towards
And
the
I
end.
I agree with you, Chris. I think he's a better choice for Andrew Jack to come in condition and maybe compromise a little bit of fullness on top because he looks a lot better than the Olympia. And I also agree with Chris that when Samson Dauda came in right off the gate, I said, oh man, it's going to be hard to beat this guy because he's more balanced than Andrew Jack. It seems like he has a little bit more density than Andrew Jack, especially on the side shots. And he seems like the outer quad sweep makes him a little bit the waist smaller and this and that.
Let's
But I
give
thought
go ahead. Go ahead.
I thought he kind of started fading in the end, and then he has some shots. The back double biceps is a bit narrow, and the back lat
Abs,
spread is
the
not the
abs,
best, so he
the
kind of
abs were getting
faded a little
faded.
bit in
Yeah,
the end.
yeah, and also let's give credit where credit is due. Uh, the mutant was fierce. I mean, his body was hard. He did everything he could with his genetics that he has, he maximized his body. He maximized everything he could to get to be the best he could for this show. I just think
Chris,
the structure got him a little bit at the end. Go ahead.
we talk about Olympia versus here. Is it a better mutant, or we got a better
Oh
Nick Walker
yeah, it's the
than
best
8
he's
weeks
ever been.
ago?
The best he's ever been. Best he's ever been.
Outstanding.
The thing is, Tim, Nick Walker is incredible. He's amazing. He's conditioned. His side chest, I think it might be the best side chest in bodybuilding right now. But in this lineup is what we call it, he structure-wise, he's in a little bit of trouble here next to guys that are genetically freaky. I mean, if you look at Hadi Choopan and Derek Lunsford, their waist is not as small as Samson Dauda and Andrew Jacked. So
Right.
Nick Walker, he can battle it out. He's in better terms going against Derek Lunsford and Hadi Choopan than if he's in the middle of these guys with these small little joints, because then he exposes his shape a little bit more.
Well,
And the improvement on these guys from Olympia, I got to commend most of these guys came in there way better than Olympia, mostly in the open than the classic. The classic was a little bit basically like the same, but the open guys really stepped it up. I really commend them on that.
And Chris, 10 weeks is a really good sweet spot to make substantial improvements, put on a couple pounds and even tighten it up a little bit more.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Gentlemen,
sir. It's gonna be
night.
but tomorrow, I guarantee you these judges are gonna judge this thing all over again. They're gonna tear up the pages tonight, and then they're gonna judge this thing all over again tomorrow, and we're gonna see who dials it in the best. And I think that's just how we are now. And that was a great prejudging, but the finals is gonna be a whole nother show.
Now, let me tell you, my experience, I know all those judges in the judging panel right now, all of them are looking at each other doing like,
man, what do you think? What do you think?
All of them are looking at each other going, we're going to have to see tomorrow what happens tomorrow. This show has not been decided at all. It will be decided tomorrow. It's a three-way,
guys.
It will be decided tomorrow. You can't make any solid conclusions today. We don't know who's winning. It's only happening tomorrow.
Don't miss the pay-per-view, and don't miss breaking news with the team from Primetime Muscle, the one and only Real Deal, Chris Cormier.
Like us and share us.
Just the Facts, Judge Tarek El Gindi.
Yes, like, subscribe, and tell your friends to subscribe to Olympia TV.
I'm Tim Wilkins. What a great night of bodybuilding. We'll see you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.
Ladies and gentlemen,